Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then don't forget to subscribe down below. And without much further ado, let's get on with the video. As you can tell by the title, today's video is going to be all about Annabelle creation. And I wish this could be a spoiler-free video, but I can't physically talk about this film without spoiling it. So if you haven't seen the film yet, please do click away. But before you go, if you're planning on watching Annabelle creation, I beg you to watch the other Annabelle first, because it adds so much. That's not a spoiler. Please, I beg. You can click away now. So you guys watching are now the people that have either watched it or really don't care about spoilers and are gonna watch anyway. And I say hello to you guys. If you have watched it, start commenting whatever you want about the film, because I want an in-depth discussion about this film because I loved it. It's not new information that I love horror films, because as you guys know, Scream is my #1 favourite film and I think will be for the rest of my life. But this film, amongst the Conjuring universe, is pushing the Scream slightly. It's not beating it, because Scream is still amazing, but it's getting there. If you didn't know, Annabelle creation is directed by David F. Sandberg, who started off here on YouTube and online creating short horrors and other films like animations. He basically just started off making short films here on the internet, and he made one called Lights Out, which is about a woman who sees something when her lights are turned off. It's such a simple idea and yet phenomenal, and that film last year was made into a feature film called Lights Out, and from that he's been able to direct Annabelle. Yes. After watching The Conjuring 2, which is part of this Conjuring universe that is being created, I fell in love with James Wan's directing, and it was the kind of thing that I want to direct and the way that I want to direct it, because it was just so aesthetically pleasing. Then Sandberg walked onto the scene and just stole it. Just absolutely stole it. Sandberg has taken Annabelle, the story of a possessed demonic doll, and made it utterly beautiful. As I'm making this video, I've actually seen Annabelle twice already. I saw it the day it came out on the 11th of August, and I saw it today, the day I'm filming this, which is the 14th of August. But today I watched it in 4DX. Now, if you don't know what 4DX is, it's basically moving seats, wind, being punched in the shoulder by the pressure pads. Everything that you could possibly want in a motion moving cinema is in those screens. First of all, I want to talk about the plot. The plot is something that made me so happy, because recently it seems that horrors are afraid to actually be horrible. I was actually really lucky enough to have been emailed by Sandberg when I was doing my EPQ with my school, which is an extended project. And basically I was wanting to make a short film inspired by Sandberg. If you haven't seen it, it's called Focus. It's here on YouTube. It's not the best thing you'll ever see in your life, but I still made it, and it still probably got me like a C or a B. And I emailed him and he emailed me back. And the one thing he said that I thought of when I was watching Annabelle was he said to be cruel to your characters. Do everything that you can to be as mean as you can to your characters. And in this film, he was mean to his characters. The main character is a young girl called Janice who wears a leg brace for most of the film, and this adds to the horror and the scare and the sheer tension of the film, because she is more vulnerable than a person that can walk completely without aid, and it just adds so much. Now, this actress is phenomenal. As the film carries on and Janice's character gets weaker and weaker and then slowly possessed by this demon, I say slowly, she was vomited into the mouth by a young girl with black ink, but you know, slowly possessed, she starts to deteriorate and fall apart, and you see every single emotion on this girl's face, and it's such an amazing thing to see on an actor, let alone a young actor. I'm shook. Also, all the other actors were obviously phenomenal, but there was one person who I thought gave such an outstanding performance. I was shook to my core. There is a point towards the end of the film where one of the older girls gets trapped inside the barn shed thing where the doll maker makes his dolls. That sounds creepy in itself. And this demon is coming towards her and about to kill her, and you see her completely and utterly freak out and be scared. And in any other horror that I've seen recently, the character just kind of sits there and is scared. Don't get me wrong, is scared, but kind of still looks at it and is still ready to fight. She fully and utterly went into herself and was praying and just being like, please do not let it kill me, and like had her hands over her face. And I've never seen such a true and honest performance, because if you saw some weird black demon thingy coming at you, I doubt you'd actually stand up and fight it, unless you're really, really badass, which I really doubt that if you saw that you would be badass. But it just felt so true and so honest, and it was such a good performance. I think that scene's gonna stick with me for so long because it was just so good. Talking of scenes which stick with you, there are two specific ones that I remember and will remember for a long, long time, and I think they've made it into my list of all-time favourite shots and scenes. The first scene is when Janice opens the cupboard in Bee's room, and obviously Annabelle is there, and then she closes it, and then it opens by itself, and she's like, what the hell? So she goes and locks it and walks away, and then it reopens. After it reopens again, after she locked it, she takes the sheet from inside the room and puts it over the Annabelle doll, and then walks away. Now, she's not looking at the Annabelle doll anymore, but the Annabelle doll stands up and starts walking towards her with the sheet on her, and chills. And as I watched the rest of the scene, I saw that it was quite a homage to Attic Panic, which is my favourite of Sandberg's shorts, because there is a point where in Attic Panic, Lotta is pulling off the sheet from this presence, and then the sheet just falls and there's nothing there. It's just amazing. I saw it and I was just smiling. I was just like, this right here is utterly beautiful. Also, talking of the homages in this film, Sandberg has been able to put not only Attic Panic into it, but also the corridor one, which I cannot for the life of me remember the name of, but I absolutely love. He put it in there when Janice is running away trying to find safety, and she goes to run towards the hall and the hall gets longer. When that happened and I saw that, I kind of just had a mini moment and I was like, yes, this is everything. The other scene, which I absolutely love, was part of a bigger moment in the film, which was when Mrs. Mullins was talking about how her daughter Bee came back and had possessed the doll and all that stuff. And she goes into Bee's playroom and sees her little child sitting there singing, "And bring me sunshine, oh lovely sunshine." She hears this song and she sees Bee, and then Bee slowly starts to transform into this demon, and the visual effects mixed with, I'm guessing, the actual person who did that, this whole movement of just it was so beautiful. The hands and the legs, and it just one of the main reasons why Sandberg is now my favourite director and my true inspiration. It's because of how beautiful he gets his shots. Now, I know this is also help from the cinematography department and the lighting and everything that goes into it. It's just a whole big collaboration that is just, it was just so beautiful. And Sandberg's films are always a certain colour. They are so deep and rich in their colour, and it's exactly my aesthetic and exactly what I want to create. But in this film, it was just above and beyond. I thought Lights Out was lit well and coloured well, but Annabelle Creation, it went to a new level. My favourite of the jump scares, which it was kind of made into a jump scare because you kind of go, no, was when Linda is playing with the ball gun thing and she accidentally shoots Annabelle in the face. When I saw this on the premiere day, everybody in the cinema went, no. And it was just this collective noise of, you did not just hit Annabelle in the face. And it was just the most beautiful thing, because obviously it did make you jump because of the sound mixed with the movement and the shot and everything. You weren't obviously expecting it to be as loud as it was, but also you hit Annabelle in the face. You don't do that. And then when it cuts back to her face a second later, she's looking at the girls and it's like, oh hell no, get out of there, run, do not return, leave. It's just, that's all I can say. Just, I applaud him. He's a god. His scares are amazing. His timing is phenomenal. Please let me work on one of your films. I've decided that is my film dream, to work on a Conjuring Universe film, or specifically a Sandberg film. This Annabelle has taken the horror genre and taken this whole idea of the demon being able to be completely and utterly fixed and taken away by the word of God, and completely flipped it on its face, really. That's not the saying. Let's go with it. Usually in a horror film, no one actually dies. It's kind of like a nice thing, or just like a mediocre character dies and no one really cares about that. In this film, the main character does die. Spoilers. Now, okay, it doesn't look like she died, she gets possessed, but in terms of how the film then plays out, she's pretty much dead from the middle of the film. Usually horrors don't actually kill off people because, I don't know, it's just they always find a way to save the day, and it's like, yay. I mean, take The Conjuring 1. No one actually dies in that film. The woman gets possessed, but they save her, but no one dies that isn't already dead before the film starts. The Conjuring 2, no one dies. Literally, everyone survives it. Which, I mean, yes, that links to the true story of it, but still, it's a horror. You want death. You want it to be horrific. This sounds horrific. Oh god. In this film, they kill off Mrs. Mullins, they kill off Mr. Mullins, they kill off a young girl called Bee. That death scene is scary. They kill off the main girl of Janice. They almost kill off a nun. It's just too much, but it's what I want in a horror film. I want to be horrified by the fact that you can't always win. Because that's what will keep me up at night, knowing that the faith and trust that we have in something of higher power is going to protect us. Maybe it's just not. And that is what I want to see in a horror, and that's what Sandberg gave me, and that's why I absolutely love his films. Yes. If by any tiny morsel of a chance that Sandberg is watching this, I do want to ask you 2 questions. 1, where do Mrs. Mullen's legs go? From my viewing of the film, she had legs, but then she gets put up on the wall without legs. And the only reason that I have for this is that the demon took her legs so that he could give Janice her legs? Am I missing a massive plot point? Or was it just because it looked prettier than having someone like Jesus? And the other question that I have is the woman who comes up from the well and is also the one that pushes Janice into the barn, are they both a version of the demon, or are they someone different? Like, are they the nun? Gasp. Oh, also, does the demon that controls Annabelle have the ability to move the Annabelle doll wherever, whenever, like that, like so it just can appear in one place and then another? Or does this demonic presence like float along Annabelle? This is the question I had from the first one. How does Annabelle move places? Or does this demon have the collection of 100 Annabelle dolls and can use any of them anywhere? Please, I would love to know the answer to this. If anyone else knows the answer to this or has an idea of the answer to this, please comment, because they are 3 questions that I would love an answer to. Of course, no film is without its negatives, and the only negative that I find for this film, and it is literally the smallest thing that is the same as quite a lot of horrors, I think you see the demon one too many times. But I did, sorry, my face just did a weird thing. I did absolutely adore the part where the demon takes over the scarecrow and like takes its arm out and grabs its face, and takes its arm out and grabs its face, and then like rips the scarecrow's mouth, because that was just terrifying. Such a good film. I cannot wait to see it again. It's so beautiful. If you're going to go and watch Annabelle, there is one point where Janice is sitting in the lift seat thing and she turns and looks around the corner. Look into the background of the corner and look for the little white girl who then walks away. You will not notice it if you're not looking for it, but when you look for it, it adds to the scene and it's absolutely blooming terrifying, and I love it. I want to finish this video with the connection to the first Annabelle. I cried. I was so shocked, moved, in awe of that connection. If you've watched the film, you'll know that Janice obviously escapes, still possessed, and she grows up to be Annabelle. Now, this Annabelle is the same Annabelle from the first Annabelle. I just said Annabelle too much. She's the girl that goes and joins a cult and then comes back and kills her parents from the first Annabelle. And when that connection was made, tears started falling from my eyes, because that was so beautiful and that was not what I was expecting, and I was ready, and I love it when a movie does something that I'm not expecting, because I see everything coming now. But also, at the end of the film, Janice is in a children's home and Lotta is the person that is being like, hey, Janice, sorry, Annabelle, you've got parents that want you. That made me happy, because Lotta is always in Sandberg stuff, because they are a team and it's great. But also, the Higgins, who adopt the Janice Annabelle child, give her a Raggedy Ann doll. When that happened, I turned to my mum and was like, I was so happy. For those of you that don't obsess over the Warren stories and that of the Conjuring universe, the original Annabelle doll from the real life story was actually a Raggedy Ann doll. So a Raggedy Ann doll is currently behind glass that is always being blessed and kept safe from the outside world. I still don't understand how glass keeps things safe, but hey ho. I think that's everything that I want to say about this film. I've talked too much. Nothing really made sense. This was me just verbally vomiting on you guys, and I'm very sorry about that, but I can't express how much I love Sandberg's films. They are true perfection. He thinks of everything. His timing is phenomenal. It is so inspiring to me. If I ever get to meet Sandberg, I will just do nothing but thank him for being such an inspiration. Also, if you didn't believe me when I said Sandberg's my favourite director, do you see that? Do you see that? Do you see it? Do you see it? That's Sandberg. If you did enjoy today's verbal vomiting about Annabelle creation, then please do not forget to subscribe just here. Also go and watch my previous video just here. And also my giveaway is going to be linked here, which is open till my last Walt Disney World vlog. But until next time, bye!